Showtime! The Capital G show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here. We're talking Yang Zing in this video and we're trying to make the deck more offensively explosive. Yang Zing is a great defensive deck because, you know, all the monsters float and you can run skill drain to kind of slow your opponent down. In fact, I probably put it up there with Bujin at the top of the totem pole when it strictly comes to defense. But offensively, the deck isn't anywhere near Shadows or S-Knights, especially S-Knights because they've got, you know, a searchable Wolf Bark and you can run 3 of them. And it's a common complaint that I hear about the deck, especially from other YouTubers. A lot of people just say, you know, man, it takes forever for them to do anything with, you know, the deck. It's so passive, and a lot of times they feel like you have to wait for your opponent to act for you to basically react. And in this video, I'm trying to suggest ways to make the deck more well-rounded while still keeping it consistent. And then obviously I'll take input from you guys too, because I do not claim to be a Yang Zing expert. Now I would think the easiest answers to look to get some more offense in this deck are probably Mass Chameleon, Junk Seekron, and maybe even Debris Dragon, because that card does actually have 3 targets in the deck. The problem with those 3 are, while they are awesome, I'm not going to discredit them at all. They're very good offensive cards for what they do. None of them work under skill drain, which basically means they just become tuners with levels at that point. I mean, you can still synchro, but you don't get to maximize the potential of their play. So I do see those as legitimate options. Just understand that a lot of people have tied this deck to the hip with skill drain. So, you know, you're losing about half the offensive potential with those cards when you're running skill drain. The second option that I personally like a lot is Triple Fire and Ice Hand, and I say this because it doesn't require any synchro action for you to get their destruction effects. They all work under skill drain, and they just really work well with Yang Zing creation. I mean, your opponent tries to attack a face down, it's an Ice Hand, you blow one of their back row up, and you still get the trigger Yang Zing creation. You get a Fire Hand as well, so I mean, you just maximized 1 card, and I feel like it's just an excellent play. I like it because, you know, they don't have to actually, you know, like you don't have to wait for your opponent to attack them. If your opponent has anything in attack mode, you can just flip them and ram. And I wouldn't think that they were like the greatest against Shadows, but if you have skill drain up, then you're negating Winda's effect, which means that you can pop it with something like Fire Hand. It also means that against the Shadow matchup, you can effectively get rid of Winda and you don't have to actually exceed. Thus, you know, when they use their Shadow Fusion that they may get back from Winda's effect, they have to use real resources. Now, the downside to running the hands is, you know, they just make your deck so much more, okay? They just make your deck so much more graveyard based. I mean, cards like Soul Drain are already really good against your deck. Throw Macrocosmos in there, and it's like, if your opponent hits one of them against you and you don't have an instant out like, you know, a Wiretap or Mystical Space Typhoon, it's like auto GG, and those cards are already just the shit against your deck anyway. Now, another tech option that I actually saw a Yang Zing player playing on Alinthio's channel was Exodius the Forbidden Lord, and you got to think outside the box with this one, because to summon him, you have to put back all the monsters in your graveyard into your deck, which in this deck, personally, I don't even think that's a bad thing, because basically all you do is just put back all your Yang Zings, and then you have more fuel for creation anyway. As long as you keep 1 Yang Zing on field, creation's just going to be like, all right, well, it's just kind of an infinite army of floating monsters. And I would say the one downside with that is if you have Chowin, obviously, you know, like you want them in the graveyard so that you can special summon them when a Yang Zing dies, but that's besides the point. The reason that you would run Exodius the Forbidden One or Exodius the Forbidden Lord is because he's level 10 and you can special summon him. His effect, for the most part, is irrelevant. You're never going to attack with him or anything like that. What I'm getting at is it makes it very, very easy to drop Star Eater in this deck, because I feel like you can get the Chai Win pretty much anytime you want. Like, any of them can search out Chai Win, and you can have creation to get them too. So, you know, Chai Win is very easy to get to. I kind of feel like if you have Exodius, then you pretty much should be able to drop a Star Eater at any given point. And I feel like, I mean, that's a 3100 body. It just gives your deck like, no, I think Star Eater's 32, whatever. It gives your deck instant offense. Like, you don't really have to work that hard, and you get a big-ass freaking beater that can, I mean, just run over shit. Now, the last idea that I actually saw, and I saw this on Duelist Grounds, was potentially splashing in the TG engine. I would think maybe like two Striker, maybe 3 Werewolf or 2 Werewolf or something like that. And it's because, you know, Tech Genesis works a lot like Yang Zing. I basically said that in my Yang Zing video, that Yang Zing are just a better version of Tech Genesis. I mean, pretty much the same exact concept. They float, and they're synchro base. So in this deck, I mean, adding TGs might actually give you more plays. I mean, I think it's going to be an accelerant for the deck because going second, Striker is a card that you can special summon right out of your hand, usually if your opponent puts a monster on board. And then Werewolf is a card that you can special alongside Striker at the same time, or if your opponent special summons at any point during their turn. The one problem with Werewolf is you can't use them during the damage step, so you can't use them off of creation or off of any of the other effects. But I would say I would only recommend this if you're going to play this deck as a fast-paced synchro beatdown, because with TGs, you're pretty much always going to have tuners. You're always going to have monsters. You have to be synchro summoning pretty much at a lightning pace, and you just have to be willing to just take your synchros, even if they don't have, you know, 5 layers or 4 layers of protection from traps and all of this. You just have to be willing to attack. I don't see any way that you can play the TG engine effectively and still try and play a stun game, because TGs lose their effect when synchroed. And unlike Yang Zing, where you can play Path and get them back and draw, there's really no way to reuse those TGs once they've hit the graveyard, except using a card like Soul Charge. So let me know what you guys think. I think that Yang Zing have potential. The problem is right now it's just it's an offensively challenged deck, and you know, obviously they get a level 5 monster and new challengers, which helps a lot because it makes the synchroing much easier. They also get a tuner. But just for people who want to play the deck now, what do you guys think are some good ideas outside of the things that I just listed, as far as just making the deck quicker, faster, more explosive? Thank you guys for watching. As always, give the video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already.